Hey everyone, Token Dave over here. Dorky Token my guy who's just trying to get by. And welcome to another edition of Black Hisuary, my celebration of Black History Month, where I focus on movies and TV shows that showcase the historical contributions of African Americans, those of African descent, or others that will be considered black folk. Not very PC over there. Nah, screw it. It is what it is. USJWs, feel free to complain in the comments section. Anyway, there are times I'll watch a movie in a movie theater where I won't get around to doing a lowdown for it. Now, for those that don't know what a lowdown is on my channel, I'll put the lowdown introduction in the link below, right, or description below, right? But basically, last fall, I saw Marshall in the movie theater, and I did not get to do a lowdown of it. So I was happy that I saw that the DVD and Blu-ray came out last month, so I said, screw it, this is going into Black Hisuary. So, for those that don't know, Marshall came out sometime in late October last year, and basically it is about one of the earlier cases of Thurgood Marshall, where basically after coming back from a case in Oklahoma to his home in New York City, thinking he'll have downtime with his wife Buster and all, he is summoned to go to Bridgeport, Connecticut to actually defend a client, an African American chauffeur who has a criminal past, basically, whom is accused of basically raping his employer and everything. And basically, since Marshall does not have permission to practice law in Connecticut, he's basically like, the NAACP. For those that don't know what the NAACP stands for, it stands for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Basically, the NAACP taps one insurance lawyer named Sam Fieldman, and basically, he just is supposed to go up and basically submit an application, allowing and recommending basically Marshall to be allowed to practice law in Connecticut. However, he is refused by the judge. The application is refused by the judge, and basically Sam Fieldman is to represent the client, while Marshall is just supposed to stand by and watch and advise Fieldman from time to time. This movie sadly got lost in the pile last year, and it's a shame because this is a damn good movie. We got an awesome cast of basically either established award winners or up and comers. We got Chadwick Boseman, who has been mainstream by playing basically not only Black Panther, but he got chose to play Black Panther because he did an amazing job portraying other historical African Americans. So expect to see another movie that Chadwick Boseman starred in a future Black Hisuary, But his portrayal of James Brown, Jackie Robinson were like amazing. We have Kate Hudson in here, whom I really feel is one of the most underrated actresses, whom is actually an A-lister, because basically, Kate Hudson will draw an audience. And, she has a great range from being an Almost Famous to How to Lose a Man in, 10 Days or Less, or 30 Days or Less, I keep forgetting. And Skeleton Key, great range, juicy role for her. I hope she gets more dramatic roles where she could flex her acting muscles so that she could actually end up winning an Academy Award, because she is so due for one. Speaking of award winners, we also have Sterling K. Brown in here, who just got his Emmy for being in This Is Us. And not for anything, Sterling K. Brown also has been he had a brief part in Black Panther. He is in this movie, This Is Us, and he's going to be in The Predator. Chadwick Boseman and Shirley K. Brown, they got good agents. Yeah, hold on to your agents, guys. And also, like, with the starring cast, we also have Josh Gad, whom is basically who is the lawyer that is defending the African American assailant. And to top it off, basically, he too has a good lawyer because Josh Gad went from being Pilaf in Frozen, or the Frosty guy. I never saw Frozen yet. Yes, I know I'm behind. I'm behind on the times. I have to watch Frozen one of these days. But he's known for playing the snowman in Frozen. Then he was in Pixels. Then he was in that movie with Kevin Hart. And now he's in this. Good agent as well, too. But that's just a starring cast. But I have to stop with the cast and everything and mention them as they go along because the cast is awesome. But that's not the only good thing about this movie. Another good thing about this movie is basically one thing with movies regarding civil rights or racism and everything, they tend to focus everything on what happens in the South predominantly. It is nice to actually see a movie, that deals with this sensitive subject of racism in the early stages of this country. We get to see it in the North, and basically, while everyone knows the North for basically fighting the Civil War in favor of the African Americans, there was still a ton of racism and segregation that was prevalent in this region. Actually, to be honest, basically I still kind of see it in some aspects. There are some areas there's some areas in upstate New York that I can't walk by myself in, because I'm scared that I'll get pulled over, or I'm scared I'll get harassed for something else. And especially in hoity-toity Connecticut, where basically it's more upper middle class or upper class, and they highlight this the high society snobbery extremely well. In fact, in this movie, they actually show something that's fairly interesting. They show the differences between the northern elite and the southern elite and the tension that is between both of them. But there's not only the Caucasian elite, you get to see actually the black elite, because there's a scene in the movie where basically we have Marshall with his wife Buster, whom is played by Keisha Sharp, who, those of you that watch the TV show Lethal Weapon, she plays Trish Murtaugh. And to be honest, the character of Trish in a TV series is one of the improvements from the Lethal Weapon movies, because Keisha Sharp is freaking hot. Oh, good God. And she's sexy as hell and everything. And, so Marshall and Buster are there, along with Langston Hughes. Yes, the poet Langston Hughes, whom is played by, I keep forgetting the actor's name, but the same person that plays Jamal in Empire is in this movie as well, too. So you get the social commentary of basically, the racism and the prejudice that was in high display in the North. You get the hostility between the rich Southern elite and the rich Northern elite, and you also get the separation of class of the African Americans, something that most places or most movies or TV shows do not showcase enough, which is awesome. It is also kind of nice to see basically one thing this movie displays is basically the interesting relationship between the African Americans and the Jewish community. For those that don't know, basically, the Jewish community were actually one of the few, the main group of people that consider themselves Caucasians. The Jews were actually our biggest and most reliable ally at the time. Despite things that happened in New York City when I was a kid, it has been, historically, it has been the Jews that has helped with basically the abolitionist movement and assisted us with the civil rights movement. Hell, the NAACP, one of the founders was a Jewish individual. And you saw that basically with Sam Friedman and everything, he's of Hasidic Jewish background, and in the movie they displayed basically how, like, basically the culture clash, the clash of morality, where some are feel shamed that basically, like, he's taking up his case, and you can see that pressure with his wife, whom his wife is actually, the actress that plays his wife is on Chicago PD. She plays actually Detective Burgess, actually, who's awesome in this. And basically, she actually hears from one of her friends that her friends actually fired one of their maids, the African American maid, mind you, out of fear of repercussion, because, like, that person had family members, and and if her husband lost the case, she feared that basically the relative of her employee would come back and basically, like, do something crazy. Where on the other hand, you had another Jewish person whom actually, like, was speaking with Friedman and told him, yo, listen, like, I heard you're representing this, heard you representing that black guy up there. Like, what would your father said? And then, Sam said, I don't know. And the other guy said, your father would said, I am proud of you. Gave him a donation and said, you have my support. You didn't hear this from me. And he said, don't mention me. And I'm serious, don't mention me. So you really got they really gave you not only the social hostility and the volatility, but you also got basically the clash of cultures and everything. Those that basically, like, were felt uncomfortable with, like, the advancement of racism and everything, or displaying racism. But you also showed the uncomfortable of how the Allies were uncomfortable, but they wanted to try to do something to make things a little more just and equal. And, with Chadwick Boseman in this movie and him playing Black Panther, everyone's still focusing on him playing a superhero for the MCU, but if you really think about it, Thurgood Marshall was a real-life superhero. This was a guy that would go into town to town, basically defending people, defending the defenseless that didn't have money to afford a lawyer and everything. So Thurgood Marshall himself was a freaking superhero, now that you come think about it. And to top it off, I got this thought from Roland Martin, one of the best African American journalists that we have around today, But I can go on and on about the complexities, the nuances of this movie, and some of the additional cast members. Like, basically, you got the guy that played Dale from Walking Dead. He does a bit of a cameo. You have basically one of the dudes from Downton Abbey and everything. Basically, the guy that played Matthew Corley. He's in this as the prosecutor trying to put away the black dude. And we have James Cromwell, who plays a hard-nosed judge in this movie. Great cast, great performances, great nuance, great, decent. The score is fairly decent, and basically a compelling movie. Guys, Marshall is slamming, I am so disappointed that this movie didn't make its budget, and it kind of didn't do as well in the movie theater as it should have, especially since it was around Oscar season. However, this is still a well-made movie that is still fairly recent, easy to pick up. Highly, highly recommend you guys watching this movie. Agree? Disagree? Drop me a comment below. Give me a like. Follow me on Facebook at Token Dave or on Twitter at TokenDave80. Subscribe and ring that bell so you know when a new video loads. But until then, this has been Token Dave, dorky token black guy who's just trying to get by. I'll catch all of you later.